Welcome, everybody, to Let It Run's Friday afternoon happy hour broadcast. We got Fred smiling over there, and he got Wadey in Tampa in his personalized box at Tampa Bay Downs, watching unbelievable racing at Tampa they have there.
Horrible.
It's like me and Philly Parks. But, today's happy hour, a little bit different. We're going to, not really deep dive. We're going to do a 1,000-foot view of the contenders for the Derby, what to look for, what to consider, in the next 2 weeks. Post position is going to affect them. So we're going to talk about the top 5 betting contenders, go through, and we're all going to get a chance to mention what we heard, any key stats, anything that, might be worth keeping in the back of your mind for your handicapping. So before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors. You can see under Fred Bro York there. That's Case's Pork Roll Company Incorporated, which is there, but you can't see the cases, but we all know Cases for the taste. And the vape shop right there on Route 33 for all your vaping needs. And then Brisnet.com, our biggest sponsor. And thank you for letting us use all their past performance and handicapping materials. And I'm sure Fred will dig deep for the Prime Power and the I did send you, Fred, the other day. I sent you the Prime Power.
I'm going to talk about that because the numbers that they gave out as the Prime Power, although they're close, the number one was kind of a surprise.
Yep. So now we got the top 20 list is really starting to take shape, and Chief Wallaby actually is officially in now. So he's in. And I heard him talking on the radio this morning on a podcast that this actually might be a Derby where there might be less than 20 horses. It's going to be rare, but there's a chance that as they go further down the list, horses are pointing different directions, going right for the Preakness. They're not going to consider. And if there's any defections in the top 20, maybe might not fill it, but somebody's going to get Derby fever and say, we're back in. And I heard Jeff Mullen said in Trepido or whatever, he was down the list, but now he's getting close. He just brought himself in under consideration. He was out of consideration. Now he's getting close, so now he's got the Derby fever, and he might be under consideration. So we're going to break down the top 5 betting horses here based on what we saw. These won't be, necessarily our picks. We're going to use some of them, but just what the public is going to migrate to the favorites. Before we get started on the individual horses, Fred, if you got anything, in general overall about, what you're going to be doing to prepare over the next 3 weeks, and what are you watching?
Yeah, I obviously I tend to look at what Brisnet puts out there. Like you said, John, the number one Brisnet Prime Power right now is Further Ado, which some people are fading on him. Some people have talked about Further Ado as perhaps they thought, he ran 8th in the Tampa Bay Derby. Okay, but Prime Power puts together a lot of factors. I also have something I want to look at too that has some figures that have to do with breeding. I am my biggest weakness is in breeding. I have to admit that I'm going to get stronger on that, and I want to really look at that for the Derby because there's certainly some indications of what horses based on the breeding, not just the sire and dam sire, but beyond that, going down the line, some tells where a horse who has breeding that has certain qualities that go into making that horse a winner. Like there's some percentages that are pretty high, but Brisnet, I'm going to go down the top 5. We have the top 5 betting choices that we look at so far: Renegade, Commandment, Further Ado, the Puma, and Chief Wallaby. Prime Power has 1 through 5. Further Ado, Commandment, Full Effort, Renegade, and Potente as the 5th Prime Power. Chief Wallaby 6. I find that kind of interesting. They even have nearly my horse, who isn't in the Derby right now. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He was 9th. I usually just go to the top 3. Prime Power, look at early pace, late pace. You sent some numbers out, John, on late pace that showed the last furlong in 12 seconds, 11 seconds. That was pretty interesting as well, John.
Yep. Wadey, what do you got going the next 3 weeks? How are you going to prepare?
I mean, I don't really do much preparing until it gets closer. I think a lot of it this year is going to come down to post position. I mean, it's going to make or break a few horses. It
Yeah.
always does. And like what I'm hearing, I saw this thing from Travis Stone, and you
Yeah.
know he's the announcer at Churchill. He was digging in deep, and he said that he feels like this year's Derby, you're going to have to be close to the lead. It's not going to. It doesn't set up for a closer for some reason. And he's just saying, like, I feel like if you're not, you know, in the first group of horses, most of the way, it's going to be tough to come off the pace. So I'm going to look into that a little bit further. There's always some defections. Did you guys hear of any guaranteed horses that are qualified that are out? Do you know of any that are like in that are out?
Yeah, there was about 4 of them. They were talking. Class president we know is out.
Yeah.
That one that
Silent
was
Tactic.
Turfway, he's going to go back to the turf and run in the turf race that day. The
Full
one that you
effort.
liked, who is it? Strategic.
Oh, Silent Tactic.
Silent Tactic. Yeah, I think he's going to a turf race. But they said there was like 4 of them, and that's why that list quickly went down to like number 24, 25. So now a horse like Confessional, who's running in the with the tomorrow's race. What's tomorrow's last 20-point race? Lexington. You know, even if he does well there, he's going to have 35 points. It might have a chance to get him in, but I think they're pointing probably towards the Preakness. So I don't think the Lexington will have any bearing on the points.
No, the Lexington not going to have any bearing on anything. There's no horse in there currently who qualifies who has a chance to get in. So I think it's a good race. It's a good race, and we'll talk about some of those races tomorrow at Keeneland, but I agree.
All right, let's start this with the probably the favorite now, especially since the jockeys got sorted out a little bit. Irad had his choice of 3 or 4 of them, and he picked Renegade. So, you know, he had his choice over who was his choice?
Commandment and Full Effort.
He had Commandment, Further Ado, and Renegade. Who?
He was also the possible choice of Full Effort. Those were the 4. Renegade.
Yeah, that was never happening. Full Effort was never happening. I think those 3.
That's one of the 4 that he could have. Right, that was not going to happen. But of the 4, obviously, mostly choosing Renegade over Further Ado and Commandment kind of is interesting.
So yeah, I think Johnny V got Further Ado, right?
Yes, he did. Yeah, Johnny V and Luis Saez got Commandment.
And he's never ridden for. I mean, can you find a race where he's ever ridden for Brad Cox? Johnny V and Brad Cox. I bet if you look up their jockey trainer combo,
that's why we need Formulator. We need Formulator to find that out.
Yeah, I don't think he's ridden much for him, but it was an interesting choice. But he's won a couple derbies. Like, he knows what he's doing. It's not like you don't have a good rider there, but it was just an interesting choice.
Johnny V on Further Ado, that made sense because he rode for Spendthrift. He won a derby with them, so that was an easy decision there.
So that basically means Pratt's going to emerging market, I would think, right?
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean he'd go that route.
Who's going to ride the Puma, you think?
It's going to be Javier, I think.
Javier Castellano, yeah.
Yeah.
And is Junior going to be on Chief Wallaby?
Who? Junior. Junior, yes.
Yep.
Junior will be on Chief Wallaby. Right. That pretty much sums up the unexpected riders.
Yep. So we'll start with Renegade. Anything we heard about Renegade. Renegade definitely, has been on, top of my radar the whole entire year. No surprise there. I mean, when he ran into Paladin, they had their little friendly rivalry for a couple races, and Paladin got put up on a DQ. Or Renegade, might have been that horse leading the charge before, Paladin. But Paladin, unfortunately, he's out. So that leaves Renegade. And, with his last race, the Arkansas Derby. Yeah, with that performance. And Irad knew what he had underneath him. And a lot of Irad horses that he rode out, especially Commandment, Renegade I saw, they rode out way past the wire. They rode out, past the wire where giving them a little bit extra more than that 1 1/8 race. So that's always interesting. If you watch any replays, watch the gallop outs on all the big races and see who was even asking past the wire and how they galloped out. What do you guys got on Renegade?
Well, I get Wadey. You go first. Go ahead, Wadey.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, just hope that he doesn't get the jinx of Rapoli day of and get scratched like his last two favorite horses. But I mean, Renegade, I don't see much knock on him except that he has to come from off the pace, and he has to navigate through a bunch of stuff to get there. And if it's going to be a speed favoring race, he's got the most work to do. I feel like, he's not going to be in the front. He's not a front horse. He comes from off the pace. So, I mean, that's my only knock on the horse. That and Rapoli. I'm not a Rapoli fan. So, but, that's just me.
And Irad is what, 0 for 9 or something?
Never won a Derby. Yeah. Irad's never won.
Oh, man, that's not good.
Yeah.
Also, Renegade buyer speed figure, if you are a proponent of the buyer speed, he has a 98, lowest of the top 5 horses that we're talking about today. Highest is Further Ado at a 106. That's a pretty strong buyer speed figure. Triple digit buyer speed figures, they do mean something. And not that Renegade can't improve, but if you look at it historically speaking, a triple buyer speed figure means a lot for the winner of the Kentucky Derby. And right now, the other 4 horses that we're talking about all have triple buyer speed figures. The highest being 106 for Further Ado. The Puma has 100. The Wallaby has 100, and the Commandment has 101. I mean, statistics show 95 or better. From what the statistics show is what the winner of the Derby, I think for the last, 25, 30 years, has at least had a 95 buyer speed figure. So it doesn't mean Renegade's out, but just, in terms of who has the best buyer speed figure, it right now looks like that's Further Ado.
I saw something where it said, I think the recent buyers have been 98 or above. If you didn't have a 98 or above, I didn't think any of them won in the last 7 or 8 years. Also, another one I saw was the last 7 Derby winners did not win their prep race.
You pointed that out before. That was that's something.
Yeah, the last 7 Derby winners did not win their prep race. That pretty much eliminates Commandment, Further Ado, Renegade,
and that leaves it set up for the
Chief
Puma
Wallaby.
and Chief Wallaby. But like I want a horse like increasing on the buyer speed figures so they could go to a next high, a new lifetime high. When we get to Further Ado, I mean that's got to bounce off that one. We get to Further Ado, I'll go into that. But I like a horse progressing where it can reach a new lifetime top, and the 98 buyer is close enough, especially in a race where he wasn't all out. I mean, he was, he didn't have to go all out. So he had the easiest road coming in where he didn't really get that much, competition. The Florida route, those races were battle-tested horses, and they gave it their all. So we'll move on to Commandment, who happened to win all those races. I mean, he finds a way to win. He's had trips, between horses, up the rail, outside, comes between and bullies his way. He's pretty darn good, Commandment, and got his nose up, between horses last time in the Florida Derby.
His only loss was his first time out maiden. Other than that, I mean, he's won every other race he's tried.
Yeah, I mean, the knock on him is the final time was not very impressive in winning the Florida Derby. That was like 149 and 9. And so they're saying that's sort of not giving him a solid hold on a Derby speed figure that you would expect to run at the next time out. His buyer speed figure, last 2 races, 100, 101, so he could go up as well. I mean, I like Luis Saez as a jockey. I think, has he won a Derby?
I think he got put up, right, on that.
Mandolin?
Maximum Security got disqualified. Did he get DQ'd? He was the one that got DQ'd, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think that's what happened. But, Commandment, certainly Florida Derby winner, showed some really strong resolve beating the Puma. It was a close, a battle down to the wire. And that horse got up and looked pretty tough in the trenches, so to speak, coming to the wire down the stretch. Looked pretty good.
Yeah, that's definitely a battle-tested horse that just keeps finding ways. So he's going to give it his all down the stretch. So definitely, one of the tough one to leave out. And like Wadey said, I'm looking back at Renegade. He's going to come a little further back than Commandment. It's all going to come down to post position draw here. It's going to be, after the post positions come out, then we're really going to have some shows. Moving to Further Ado now, the flashy horse that, couple question marks here. Further Ado, once the big favorite last time, not the big favorite, the second choice, really Reagan's Honor, didn't break well. It set the race up where there was nothing else in the race, and it was Further Ado's to lose, and he went on and won by 12 lengths or whatever with a 106 buyer. But his two flashy races have come at Keeneland. Is he a Keeneland specialist only? Not sure. Let me let Wadey back in here. All right, we lost Fred. We picked Wadey back up. All right. Then I'm talking about Further Ado now. With the two flashy buyers and the open length victory, is he a Keeneland specialist horse for course at Keeneland? I'm going to fade him as much as I can, maybe use defensively in supers, but on the win end, I mean, I'm rooting against. I'm just thinking he's just a flash in a pan Keeneland horse. And once Reagan's Honor did not break well, there was nobody else in that race. So his last 2 or 3 races, he hasn't faced any of the big boys yet.
I'm with you on that.
What?
I'm with you 100% on that.
Yeah, that's one we're going to fade. I mean, that's not my kind of horse. I mean, he could go off the favorite. Who the heck knows? Yeah, watching the
I agree.
race now.
I'm ready to fade him.
Yeah.
I'm so ready to
running here now. So the third leg of our pick 6 ticket. So we need a price here. We're 5 deep. So they're down a backstretch. You got time to find it. All right. So yeah, Further Ado. Johnny Velasquez picks them out. But we'll talk more, see what post position draw that one gets. But he could be definitely forwardly placed.
He's going to be forwardly placed. He has to be. I think he's going to be
like
close.
We said, he's going to be more forward than Renegade. That's for sure. Who we got here? The 4 horse getting the lead. 7-1. We'll take him all the way.
I think the 6 is 4. We got 4, 6. Come on, 6 is coming.
4, dig in.
He's on the wrong lead too.
Yeah, he won't switch. We can't have another favorite. Come on, Ford. Keep grinding, 4. Keep grinding. Don't let him pass you. He won't switch. Come on. Keep
Got nailed at the
4.
wire. Unbelievable.
Are you kidding me? All that stretch for the grind and then the last jump.
He wouldn't change leads. That's a killer. That's a big killer for horses. I hate when a horse doesn't change leads. Like, I'll make note of that, and I won't bet that horse next time. I just don't like when they don't change leads.
Ugh, horrible. Another 7-5. That was 7-1. That's a game changer right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Nah, damn it. Okay, so we're getting back to
here comes who are we on now? Further Ado. Yeah, Further Ado. I mean, he had everything go his way. And then you also got to go back and look like he lost in the the Tampa Bay Derby. And like I said, I think I mentioned about 2 weeks ago on the show, every horse that comes out of Tampa just been running their eyes out wherever they go.
Yeah. And he did. He proved it.
Yeah. A lot of horses coming out of Tampa just, it's not like Tampa's great or anything, but it's that surface or something. I don't know, but just a lot of these horses that are coming out of Tampa have been running good.
What's your thoughts, Fred? Further Ado.
Well, he was 8th in the Tampa Bay Derby, but then he came back but he won impressively in 2 of the Bluegrass.
Fred, you there?
Yeah, I'm back.
He's there.
Can you hear me?
I hear him. You don't hear him, what, Wadey? Do you see him?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see him. I can't hear him.
I hear him loud and clear. You're better off Wadey not hearing him. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, John, to comment on Wadey's point, which is interesting. What's his name? Further Ado ran at Churchill Downs and won the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes at Churchill Downs. So that, to Wadey's point, John, maybe you can comment on that so Wadey can hear it, that horse, Further Ado, won in the fall at the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes. So just mention that, John, because I want Wadey to hear that because I was dying to get that point.
Fred's big point there, Wadey said, was Further Ado won at Churchill Downs already in his 2-year-old season, won that Jockey Club stakes or whatever. So he was a little bit more forwardly placed, I think, that race than normal. I just remember. I'll have to look at that again. But like me and Wadey were saying, we're fading Further Ado, thinking he's but Keeneland specialist. But obviously, if he wanted Churchill, that is a feather in his cap. If you win over the track,
Sure.
that's a big one. So moving on.
Yeah,
to
that's big too. That's the big thing. It's going to be how these horses have, and most of them probably haven't had a run over that track. So it's a lot of it's going to depend on how they take to that track. Every track has its own service.
Yeah, and then we'll definitely be highlighting the races at Churchill over their careers. That's going to be a big, they like the track, and we're going to watch out who is, training well, going well over the track. And now next week we'll start the morning shows for a week straight.
Those are very important. Those are very important to watch, like how they train in the morning, how they do their workouts. That's a good point, John.
Yep,
for sure.
Fred, can you hear Wadey?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, he just can't hear you. Okay. The Puma now. The Puma has come on the scenes recently. The last 2 races, he was the fringe player against the big guns. Now he's one of the big guns because he's had his nose on the wire and won another race. And it's the same connections as Mage. Very similar, lightly raced horse, getting good at the right time.
Yes.
So the Puma in the mix with Javier Castellano.
I like it. I like the
Puma might have peaked.
Huh?
He might have already done his peaking, right? I mean,
I don't think so.
no.
You got to say that about all of them.
He only has 1 win in 4 starts. He's he won the Tampa Bay Derby.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he won. He's there with the horses that I like. So I mean, he's beaten Chief Wallaby. He beat Further Ado. He got he lost to Renegade by 6, but Chief Wallaby beat him in the maiden race, and that's about it. But I just think that horse is. He's not going to see my money. I mean, he might be in underneath, but
yeah,
he's also trip dependent on my radar too. I think it's going to depend on what kind of trip he gets.
Well, I'm not gonna tell you my pick.
For most
yet.
of them too, but I'm not saying anything anyone doesn't know.
no.
But I'm not gonna lock in my pick right now. It's a little too soon.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nearly at 25 might get in there. Is it possible, John, that he could get in there?
He's going to go a different route. I mean, you cannot run that horse in the Derby.
Okay.
After what
You said that before, and
he's got to go in the Pate Mile. He's got to play for Pate.
I tend to agree, but
Which
I don't
horse?
want to get my pick out.
Oh yeah.
I did buy a pair of Pumas. Just want to say that.
Okay. Pumas. I'm the same way with the Puma. I'm going to use him defensively, but he won't be. Out of this list of the top 5, probably Renegade and Chief Wallaby are going to be my, top 2 out of this. Obviously, Chief Wallaby, if everything goes well, will be mine, and I'm sure Wadey will comment on Chief Wallaby. Why don't you kick us off on Chief Wallaby, and how much do you have locked in on Chief Wallaby if he wins?
Over 18,000.
Locked in on future books. So
yeah.
Yep.
So if he wins, I'm rooting for him. I mean, that's my horse. I've got plenty of future money on him. At 12-1, 8-1, and a little bit at 28-1. So
yeah, I got one future bet. I told Fred and I told you, Wadey, that Dana Bourbon, which he's going to be 15-1 area, and I got him at 58-1. So
I think that horse has some speed
but
too.
I got a couple shekels on him.
He has some speed, right?
No, he's not. The speed is going to be that six speed or whatever. He's the speed ball.
Yes.
Dana
I'm sorry.
Bourbon has enough tactical speed to be up there. So, but he's.
I know one of the
lightly
Japanese horses does have some speed.
Yeah. Chief Wallaby. I mean, it's been our pick for about a month and a half now, and lightly raced. And the 2 races he got beat by Commandment and the Puma, he basically had the worst of it. Everybody blacked out, acting unstable internet.
Who's going to be riding? Who's going to be riding? Wallaby. Who's
Wallaby? Junior Alvarado.
Oh, Junior Alvarado. Who trains Chief Wallaby? Not Bill Mott. No.
I think it's Mott, right?
Yeah. It's the same connections as it's Mott and Junior Alvarado.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a potent combination at any big race, big time.
Yeah, he knows how to train him step by step into the big spot. So those other two spots got him into the Derby. Now he was trained to win the Derby, and that's what
Absolutely.
Belmont's MO is. He wasn't shooting for winning any of those, but the horse was so lightly raced, he needed the points. Now he's got them, and they got to decide if they're going to have two workouts over the track or just one workout before the Derby. So
Right.
that was
Well,
the talk on the radio when he ships in what they'll decide.
Well, that's something else that here at Let Him Run we'll keep an eye on as we move along. I apologize for the cutout again, but I had a guy come in and told me the best thing I can do is hook up to the internet via cable, which I am working on that because I can't stand when that cuts out. It makes me nuts. Anyway, John, have we covered enough of these 5 contenders or these 5 betting favorites that we've talked about? Any other thoughts, John?
No, we're gonna keep diving deeper and come up with some long shots or horses that are maybe good for underneath, not necessarily winners, but that superfecta in the Derby with the $1 minimum is a real interesting wager. And if you could get it right, even if it chalks out, it still pays enough to make it worthwhile.
Absolutely.
Literally, the best bet in the Derby is that super.
Yeah. Got to just, if the top 5, if these 5 horses we talked about come in any order in the top 4, then you're looking at maybe $1,000 super. You need to get one of those 40 to 1s to run in their second or third, which is
They usually do.
They usually do, but you're just hoping it's not the top 3 is 3 of these 5, and then a bomber runs up for 4th. It really loses some value. But if you could get a bomber to split these horses into second or third, that's when it jumps way up.
That's usually the path that happens.
Yeah,
Why the
I agree.
as Wadey said, is the best bet.
Yep. All right. I think that covers enough for now.
Okay, so John, we're going to be back tomorrow at 12:30 covering the late pick 5 at Keeneland. I'm sure you'll have some action going there. John, we'll talk at 12:30. And obviously, we have our Monday, Wednesday shows with Brisnet.com playing the day. Always want to make sure we thank Brisnet for the support that they give. Let Him Run as we continue to try and grow. We do have our articles on Capital or on the Florida Sports Talk, so please check them out as well. I don't know if Wadey can hear me yet, but John, thank Wadey for being here. Appreciate him coming on all the time. We got to find out, make a trip down to Tampa at some time.
Yeah, he's a professional lip reader. Wadey can read your lips. He knows exactly everything that you said, but he just purposely tunes it out. So, no, but Fred did say thanks, Wadey, for joining us. Anytime, you're available, jump on, especially with these Derby talks. We need as many ears listening to podcasts and
Absolutely.
doing research and just passing on information, facts, stats. Let people decide, ultimately, but we just want to fill them with a lot of great information and go from there.
3 more weeks. A lot more will change in the next 3
gonna
weeks.
change.
It's going to unfold, and it'll start to shape up a lot better as we get closer with the post positions, the workouts, and then keep in mind the one factor that you can't handicap: the weather. I mean, how many times has the Derby rained and been bad weather or something? That changes everything. So you can have who you want to have right now, and you can think who you want to bet, but you get that bad post position or you get bad weather and everything changes. So anytime you guys want me on, I'll be on.
All right,
Appreciate
Wadey.
it.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Wadey.
All right,
I'll
guys.
talk to you a little bit. All right.
Close out the show. We'll say, hey, just don't forget, bet smart, cheer hard. The fast horses can equal some serious fun. And in the end, just make sure we let him run, John. Sorry
All
about
right, let him run. You got it, guys.
Bad connection again. But Wadey's the best. We'd like to thank him for being on again. Good friend of the show, good friend of Johnny Costa, good friend that we hope, like I said, maybe sometime get down there to Tampa and hang out. If he comes up here, we'll hang out, whatever.
He's coming up. He's coming up for Belmont. I'm picking him up in Albany, and we're gonna go to the Belmont at Saratoga. Then I'm gonna drop him right off at Newark Airport, so he won't even be in town.
Wow.
But if he does come up for the Grade 1, not the Grade 1 gamble, that's tomorrow. The Pick Your Prize contest at Monmouth.
Right.
That's like a week later. Once we go up to Belmont, we come back, and it's the Pick Your Prize. So I doubt if he's going to fly back and forth, twice for that.
Well, listen, anytime he's on, it's great to have on. Guys got good insight, good help. tomorrow, 12:30, John. We'll see. I'll see you then.
Yep.
We'll have some breaking down at Pick 5 at Keeneland. Be sure to check out the article in Florida Sports Talk where I have talked about the races and the horses in the race. And John and I will break it down tomorrow after the scratches, which is why our big Saturday show is a show to check out. Because everything can change when the scratches come. A speed horse that was in with 2 or 3 horses can become a speed horse, or a closer can still have the speed it needs to close. A lot of stuff can change, so keep an eye on that. We'll talk tomorrow at 12:30. John, thank you very much. Have a good day, John. Partner.
All right.
All right.
Later, guys.